welcome to Conscious 2, and welcome to Satsang Live with Mooji. Now, if you've watched a Conscious 2 event before, you'll know that part of what we try to do is capture the intimacy and transmission of an in-person event for you watching wherever you are in the world. And one of the ways that we do that is by giving you the opportunity to send in questions. And if you're watching this video on the Conscious 2 website, you'll see a comment section below the video. That's a great place if you want to share just your experience, anything that comes up as we dive in this evening. But also if you have a specific question for Mooji that you'd like me to put to him. Around an hour and a half, 2 hours into the broadcast, I'll come back out here and I'll ask some of the questions that are posted on here. So please do that. It's a great way of coming into the experience. Another way that we capture some of the intimacy is by having a small in-person audience. So we also have an audience of people here which are going to come and sit with Mooji and ask whatever question is burning and alive inside of them. But I really want to welcome you, Mooji. I'm really happy to have you back. You were here a year ago, and we had a really wonderful time with you.
Yes, thank you very much. Nice to be here again. Very good.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off just briefly. I know since you were last here, there's actually 2 new books that have come out. And one I have here, which you actually kindly gave to me last time, which is called White Fire. And there's also another called The Mala of God. And I actually had a question, if you don't mind. I don't want to hog the floor from the people that are here.
Okay.
But it was mentioned to me that Mala of God explores the devotional aspect of the non-dual. And I was just thinking about that. And in spiritual practice these days, the devotional path is certainly in the West, is not alive perhaps in the way that it certainly is in the East. And the way it was maybe 30, 40 years ago, people have kind of moved more towards kind of being their own teacher in a sense. And I know that in your teaching that devotional quality is beautifully alive. I don't know if you have, maybe you say a few words.
Yes, I don't create that aliveness in it. It's there already. We just provide a space for that to be acknowledged and to be guided in the most direct way. So we don't create this. And I would like to say also that in the West, I think the British people, maybe they had a much more alive devotional way, maybe, as you say, maybe 30, 40 years ago. But it's still very, very much alive now in different forms. Many people from the Afro-Caribbean communities brings back a very dynamic, alive, truthful, joyful expression of life and love and divinity in its most dynamic way, in this devotional way. So I can't say how it comes about in my case, because we could say perhaps because of my background. I grew up very much in an environment where Christ and the mention of God's name and so on is very, very common, very, very comfortable for most people, you see. So without intending to in a deliberate way, it just somehow came in and featured itself in the way that satsangs unfold now. And satsangs are very spontaneous for me. It is rare to find these 2 great rivers, you may say, of the expressions of truth, the river of bhakti or devotional expression, running so closely or even intertwined with the path of non-duality. And I feel it could only have taken place or occur in a living way by its own flow, but not rather than by any human intention. It seems that it is alive together, like 2 wings of one bird. So I find no inconsistency with it, maybe because it is not born out of thought so much, but out of a more living, a living space from depending upon the temperament of the different forms of seeking. Some people naturally are inclined more towards the devotional way. I'm totally comfortable with them also. and some are more inclined towards a more philosophical approach. And I'm quite comfortable with this also. So I find whichever way that people find they're seeking most alive, something is able to respond to both. So, yes.
Because there's something in the kind of Western way of the tendency of one to be devotional towards their own ego structure and their own needs and their own kind of sense of shoring up their own sense of self-importance. And there's
Yes.
something about having something beyond that, which
Yes.
becomes the object of that devotion, which it seems
Yes.
to be a powerful way to move beyond that somehow.
Yeah, because devotion to oneself based upon egoic self-obsession leads nowhere but total chaos and
Right.
Arrogance and selfishness. We don't have to go so far. It's prevalent enough to be obvious, you know.
Right.
And that those whose attitude or whose heart beat more towards a devotional or seeking to connect with the Supreme in a very loving or devotional way, also totally natural actually for a human being, tend to not carry or slip off into these rooms of arrogance, and they're much more humble in their way and easier also in their interactions with other beings, because they don't have this kind of self-glorification tendencies to fend off so much.
But it can take a lot of courage for one to kind of move from the shoring up of that self to actually having the trust and the courage to devote oneself to one's path and one's truth and another.
It has to come from within. It cannot be born out of intention, even if one is very forceful in their intention. It doesn't in the end bear fruit, it will not live. It has to come from a living source, not something that has been orchestrated by the human intellect in any way.
I guess it's a question of who is the one that's trying to devote, or who is the one which is driving that. Where's that
The
coming
one who
from
is
then?
trying to devote, to be devoted to the truth, actually comes from the truth and is an aspect of the truth itself, in disguise as a seeker.
I like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So just for people who want to, we mentioned the Mala of God. Mooji's website is mooji.org, and I think /shop is a place that you can explore that. And there's also the other book, White Fire. But I'm going to hand over to and invite our in-person audience here. We have a slightly larger audience than we normally do at Conscious 2. We normally have kind of 6 to 8 people. We have an entire room full of people. So I'd like to welcome you guys and thank you for being here with us. So,
Thank you.
and just to remind people watching at home that if you do want to send in your questions, you can post them below this video. We may not get through all of the questions, but we'll certainly get through some of them. So please do that. But I'm going to invite our first person to come up. And thank you, Mooji. I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Okay, well, let's go. Please
There you
come,
go.
my love. Thank you.
Okay. That's all right.
Okay. Is this microphone enough? It seems to be quite high.
I
You
think
you don't you
somewhere
don't you don't
here.
worry about that. You can bend them, no? They can be bent or not? Yeah, that's much more. That seems much more.
Thank you. I have to say first, I am so grateful. I don't want to miss the opportunity to thank you, because I've spent months in my room letting myself be guided by your pointing,
Yes.
which is the most direct thing. There is no way out. If you really want to find out the truth, there is no way out, because you just do that. And I want to see where is this soft clinging that I find myself in.
You say you find yourself in a position of clinging.
Not really. It's like something needs to be like a small shift that needs to happen in consciousness, because I'm in the point where I see clearly. I am aware of everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
There's no doubt about this.
Yes.
Every little movement.
Then what sort of shift is needed then, you say?
Why can I just not admit I am this?
If you mean that there is a need to admit I am this, in what way? In some to admit to who I am this? To yourself, you mean?
Yes, like maybe some sort of, I know the feeling of the full recognition when it's just the revelation. I know it, and maybe I'm looking to fall into that completely.
As an experience, to have an experience of collapsing into it, you mean?
Like when I see it is like that.
Yes.
And it's not happening. It's still a sense of I'm aware of the awareness. And my concern is I don't want to be still in the seeker mode up until this final point, or it's just I see it and I'm looking for an experience.
You who are aware of awareness, are you different or apart from that awareness?
I've come myself with this question. Not different. It's so obvious I'm not different.
Yes. Now also this I, which is not different, should be free entirely of any content. It should not be any content will want to create it as an object again, to feel like it's an object. So this sense I does not represent an entity or a content. You may say it's just another form or an aspect of consciousness itself. As I speak this, I don't know if you're able to confirm that it clears away something, because it can be a subtle form of retaining an impression of awareness as an entity.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, it's saying that, yes, I must be the same as awareness, but still there's some subtle sense of the apartness.
Exactly.
Because I am something and awareness is nothing.
And still is like a merging. It's like I'm in it, not apart from it.
Yes.
Same, but there is
the sense of a need to merge indicates that there's still the idea of that I am separate or different, you see. They work together. If I am separate, then the need to merge to be non-separate will be felt like that is something that needs to happen.
Exactly.
But it's only an idea.
So I am aware of this idea.
Yes. Yes.
And I cannot say that it's me. I am the one. The one aware of the idea feels again like an entity.
Don't get pulled into any story or any shape. The awareness is totally shapeless. It is without intention. It is without aspiration. It is without the need of the sense of merging. All of that, it uses the mind to have a sense of experience and diversity. But at the stage where you are speaking from, you can leave all that behind now. There's an awareness. The awareness itself is free of aspiration. It is already complete, beyond even the notion of completeness. It simply is, you see. The sense of the I may be still carrying some subtle notion of personhood or something, and it's that personhood, it's not comfortable with itself. It's trying to merge or disturb, and at the same time you're seeing from the deeper awareness. A seeing is occurring that this sense of a person or this sense of incompleteness is wriggling to sort of merge, and now you should see and acknowledge it can only be an idea.
It's more like a play happening in front of me. Constant
Yes,
play of form.
a play. If it is a play, then it is nothing, because just in the same way you may go to a theater and watch a play and really be responding on some level with the play, but at no point do you want to jump on the stage and participate. So if it's a play, you will not feel any urge to be pulled into it, you see. Whereas if it feels to be closer than intimacy, where you are part of the play, then the very wriggling will not be perceived as being at some distance, but you identify, I still need to do something.
Mostly, it's very clear for me, mostly it's like searching for a feeling of recognition that it is final.
Yes. That is still going into the field of phenomena to verify that which is non-phenomenal. It is like going to have an assessment of the sun by approaching the moon to ask, if I can take the temperature of the sun. It's not possible, you see. All of this is still just in the field of the fluid consciousness, the dynamic consciousness that is taking these shapes. But from the place of awareness, you see, it hasn't even started, much less to be ended. It is, you can say it is a play. But a play is only a play while there's interest. If there's no interest, there's not even a play. If there's not interest, there's not even a play. If we take it as an example in your daily life, there are many people passing, things happening, but you can make your way through an entire marketplace without getting engaged with anything. Yet it is sensorily available for you. But if you have no interest, nothing registers, and effectively nothing has happened. In the same way, things don't happen of their own accord. They happen if and until your mind, the mind, says that this thing happens experientially, and effectively nothing has happened. A happening is determined. It doesn't determine itself. It is determined in the mind. If you have no interest, nothing happens.
So we reach the point where I just need to stay here.
Let's make it a little easier. To stay requires work and effort you cannot fulfill. To do any effort, you cannot sustain unbroken effort with anything, because the law of the dynamic expression compels that the river is always flowing. You cannot stabilize anything in the field of relativity and make them absolute. We are trying to do that. It is totally impossible. All that can happen is that you can recognize that awareness is the unmoving. This is not a thought. It can be verified in your own heart, and your very life bears witness to that. And just be one with that. Because it is already not moving. It's already unchanging. If you say, I must stay there, then you've given yourself a job that you will not be able to complete. What is must be totally natural and effortless. It must be what is already so. It cannot be the outcome of some striving that you produce. You cannot produce any effect that you can say is stable. because it will be born out of the mind, which itself is relative and unstable. You see? You can only recognize that which is already unchanging and see that I am here. I am this.
I had this experience after the satsang.
Yes.
It happened just like that, effortlessly.
Yes.
Everything was panoramic.
Yes.
I could see everything without being involved.
Yes.
And I heard my voice from outside all the time.
Yes.
And there was no effort.
Yes.
I was speaking, doing,
Yes.
but I was there.
Yes.
And then I've noticed, but this is so good, it's just like part of the walk. I've noticed the slightless movement. Oh, it's a different fragrance. I'm not so still now. And then I'm noticing, but all of this is watched, and there is something always noticing the change that is not changing. That, and all my focus, the moment, I think only the attention is moving, because when my focus gets in, I don't even know how to call it, but it's that.
Remember, the self is not an event. If there is an event, it is the event of the recognition of the self. But the self is not an event. It is revealed, but it is not an event. You see? And it is revealing itself to whom? Other than itself. These things, we cannot know them just with with mental knowledge and so on. It must be combined with a deeper movement has started that is yearning to have a consummation of this knowledge. So it all fits in naturally. It's not forced. You have the very urge to be free is already a movement that is already occurring, free from human effort, you see. The human effort only comes from habit, that we think as though we are a doer of actions or the thinker of thought and the one responsible for the way things appear. This itself is a thought, and perhaps the most prevalent thought. But what it does is it creates confusion, where in fact none is needed, you see, like that. So even the subtle movements of, yes, but I go here now and I can see this, all of this already is just a play of the mind. The play of identity is still in a way searching to try and find, like a river flowing towards the ocean, you see. But all of that is seen. And increasingly with less involvement. And gradually it all disappears when the delusion is over. You see, it's not the way things are.
I've noticed that in direct proportion to the focus that is here, the identity is dripping out, and then it's. I started to cry the moment I saw that. Was like a fear of everything familiar just dripping away. And was a mix of openness, joy, and being scared.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. The fear of everything familiar dripping away is only everything currently familiar. Okay? Because there have been things all your life familiar, long gone now. With great joy, they've made room for fresh things to be familiar, which in time will become old things. So nothing is really lost. When you realize the self itself. experiencing continue. The flavors, the varying flavors of and sensations can continue, but they will never overwhelm. There's nothing to overwhelm. Everything is happening, occurring within the field or the screen of consciousness. Just as you look on any screen, it doesn't matter what is appearing on the screen, they cannot exceed the boundaries of the screen. They're only inside the screen of consciousness. And this screen is not an eternal screen. Every night before you, as you slip into sleep, the screen rolls up and the theater of the living day disappears. So it's not one continuous stream.
This just popped to my mind. While I was following your pointing a few months back, one night I woke up suddenly and there was no identity, like nothing beyond nothing. Could not recognize anything, not even my partner. And some feeling, where am I? Who am I? And then slowly everything just rose back. And a feeling of comfort came. Oh, okay. And then when I realized what happened was...
this is such a common experience. Spontaneously, the mind collapses into the vastness of the self. And you say you woke up. So you did wake up into a field of awareness. And everything is there. You say, I couldn't recognize my partner, but the body was in the bed. And something knows his body. But what happens is that the usual context and reference with which you relate to the world, that was not there anymore. The images were there, the forms were there, but the story was gone. And then somehow we missed the story. The story gave you a context in which you could feel, I have an existence in this plane. And for a moment it was absent. Actually there's a great beauty in that. But the fear eclipsed the beauty. The fear, where am I, you see? Like some fear, and it is as though it triggered, a re-embodiment of this. It seemed like this would happen, and you're back again, and then a momentary sense of relief, like, thank you. Oh my God, I can see, boyfriend, everything is there. And we feel again, thank you for this. And then followed by, what have I done?
Exactly.
That is. But it is okay. The serum is in. Whatever that experience was meant to have brought, it is already done. And now the fruit of that perhaps will produce a stronger aspiration to keep on, to strengthen your search or something, you see, and to bring in greater strength in your inner focus, your introspective ability and so on will grow because of this, you see. Because there's a time when we hear about the self, and there's a time when it is proven in your heart it really does exist. And as soon as it's proven it exists, the mind loses much of its grip. A battle may continue, but you have the advantage because you have experienced the proof that there exists in you the reality, which seems momentarily or from time to time covered up by the mind, and which brings in a sense of ordinary life and so on. But a deeper awareness has been, somehow tickled into. It's been aroused a little bit, and it will continue to be reveal itself.
It was I've noticed a great refining. While I was in the satsang now, like so smooth. It's like rearranging or arranging some pieces with your words, and still it brought me so much closer, and the feeling of being closer is also noticed. So there is still what I'm sensing from your words is like there is, while you go deeper with your seeing, there is still the sense of the journey.
Yes. While there's a sense of deeper, there will be journey, measurement. It is still all in the dream, but necessary part of the dream.
Exactly.
You are getting closer is also a dream. When the dream opens up into real, into final awakening, you'll see that you've always just been here, dreaming distance, dreaming separation and so on. And it will not seem like it was just a mistake. It seemed like it was all worth it somehow. We have to experience this diverse field of consciousness and to taste what it's like to feel in the body and the sense of autonomy and the sense of the exaggerated notion of free will and all of this, and experience the dreams not anymore being fulfilled and crashing, and the sense of sometimes helplessness and then empowerment and all this, the full spin of this interrelated dance of manifested world, and then coming back to the stillness of and the completeness of the source self which we are. Yeah. You see. And when you do, you will not despise this world nor throw it away. In fact, the world takes the color of your awakening. It's all one thing. You will know that some aspects of what we see belongs to time and feel no pain of this. But you'll know from the root of seeing, it is timeless. The objects, the shapes belong to time and change. But you will not try to prevent what is by nature changeful from changing. You'll see that it is healthily part of the dynamics of what we call the living life.
So that is how it feels when it's no identity.
When there's no identity?
Like no context, like nothing.
No, let's not go so far. Sometimes identity can drift in sometime. But it will drift in just like the wind that passes through this room. You see, it will, as long as the body is there and the life force and consciousness is here, the mind will come in. Some shapes will be taken, but they will never overwhelm. You will see them for what they are and experience them without fear or turbulence or identity reshaping. So let everything come. Emotions will be there. Sometimes a sense of sadness can come. Why not? Everything can come. But they're all tourists to the unchanging state. If we say, can it be that this will never, never, never be experienced again? It shows some fear. It is okay that things come. They can come. It's part of the livingness of life. You see, they can come. And it keeps an alertness in the consciousness also. That it cannot just fold its leg up and go into a hammock. There's still a looking, and there's a quality to this looking that is not work, it's a joy. The consciousness must get exercised also. Not as work, but as joy.
And the maturing part is part of the dynamic part, the maturing sense of...
This is a paradox, because they will continue even after the state of self-realization, a kind of maturing taking place against a background of unchanging awareness. As long as the body is there and the consciousness is there, there has to be a deepening, a sense of deepening, but it's a sense. This deepening at the same time is always a sense of fullness. There's always a sense of contentment. It's not like something is missing, yet it keeps on growing, like a fruit that keeps getting sweeter and sweeter. You say, well, It cannot get more sweet than this. It still keep getting sweeter. So, but it can't get sweeter than this. It keeps getting sweeter.
I just love it. This exploring, I just love
But
it.
this is love. It creates a sense of separateness in order to have the joy of being a taster of love. For a while it says, it's like we want to taste the honey, you don't want to be the honey. We enjoy to taste, but it's a fear to be. And then in some mysterious way, you end up being the honey and the tasting of the honey. But nobody can explain this thing. You find that all of this is your self-tasting. It is not easy to understand with the traditional or classical way when we use the mind in that way. But from the mind that has been baptized in the heart, all this becomes alive for you.
I would stay here for hours, but I would love others to come too.
Okay, that's good. Very good. Come, okay. Thank you, my love. Very nice. Very good.
Oh, you know how my boyfriend and I call him Mooji Bear.
Mooji Bear.
Yeah.
Mooji Bear. I got to get rid of this belly somehow. It's all part of. Thank you, my love. Is it comfortable? Move it until you're comfortable.
So great to be here again with you.
Yes.
So much is happening. I was at the silent retreat,
Okay.
and the person is diminishing.
Oh.
I feel it's fading, and which is a lovely thing. I'm very happy about this.
Yeah.
But what I'm also experiencing is that the intensity of my doing is changing.
Mm-hmm.
So in my everyday life, that intensity that I had before about this person needing to act and do and be labeled as and claim this and do that is fading, is moving out, which is wonderful. But at work, I think, what am I doing here? I mean, I see what I'm doing here, and I can go to work and work. There's so much less attachment, which is wonderful, but there's the but. And I wonder, I feel like there's the moment when I want to go into that stillness for a while and sit in that truth for a while, and then come out again and walk and do whatever life directs me to do. But for the time being, I feel kind of like an imposter in the office. Does this make sense?
Perfectly makes sense. Perfectly makes sense, and it is something that comes quite often when this stage that you just introduced for your own self comes up for people that feel like, wow, I don't see, there's no meaning anymore in this work I'm doing and so on, and yet I have to do it because, I have to, whatever, you see, and what to do now. Trust that because the work that is being done, just see that it is all together somehow, for now. if you can only spare, 10 minutes or so to be in this introspective state of looking and marinating in that seeing. Somehow arising out of even 10 minutes of this inner intensity of focus, then like it gives you back hours in somehow of aliveness in what you're doing. Sometimes we're not sure if it is the mind that is saying, see, if you meditate, you're going to be completely useless in the life, I don't know. Sometimes, because it can take this form also, you just feel tired, you just have lack of interest or whatever, they come. But don't force any decision like, okay, I'm giving up my work or something. You see, there's no condition for the consciousness. You continue looking. Sometimes you produce the best when you have no time to do it. Such little time. The focus, the life just compacts itself in that. And because it is like, it's life for you. Okay? So for the time, it can seem that there's this strong contrast, because as you look internally, you find that the life force doesn't want to go to work. It feels tired and for a bit. But don't form any conclusion about it. Just say somehow in the big picture, all of this is fine. And just keep moving and let the life work it out rather than your mind work it out. You see?
Yeah.
But it is very, very much a common response. Many people report about it, no? That sometimes they feel, or we have a state we call Satsang flu, that as soon as people will get into this deep state, they start to feel sick and they get runny nose and they want to be in bed all the time and so on for a bit, no? And or Shiva fever, we call Shiva fever. And you feel very lethargic and so on. But just see that is just a state. There's nothing eternal about it. It's just a state. We don't even have to understand why that is. Just you don't be distracted by that. Just keep to your seeing, to confirm again that I'm just here, and that the root, the base, the source, whatever is happening in the body, such as tiredness, this tiredness is not a definition of what the source is. It's just some surface movement, and continue.
When I'm at work, I have moments of just this pure bliss that bubbles up, and it's like I just disappear. I'm kind of, I don't want to use the word vacant because it's not that feeling, but it's so blissful. I'm typing away and then suddenly I kind of go into this euphoric. So I have lots of energy and I enjoy going to work, but I guess it's what I'm experiencing is that now that I'm sensing and feeling how everything is connected, I no longer see these strong polarities. I no longer see the struggle. Well, okay, I can see a struggle, but I don't feel it the same way. I don't sense it the same way. I don't feel that I need to contribute to solving that polarity and that problem that we're all focusing on and working hard at. So I guess that's where, where I go back to feeling like a fraud now that I go to work, because I'm in an environment where we're all moving towards healing or safeguarding or, protecting the environment. And I just feel like the environment is fine. We're all fine. And it's all a play, and it's just the creation is in constant flow, and I don't know, I'm just happy with it. I just, it's all good.
Yes.
So.
Because what happened is, you're coming out of the personal. When the personal is out of the picture, things become very clear. And maybe your expression of these things now maybe won't go down good in the office if you say them. You see like this. You can keep it to yourself for a while. Just see where it's going. So leave some room for the unexpected to see what happens in this, because you don't need to try and forecast what may happen, because the mind has plenty of notions about that. So, but you just continue just being in that inner place, and just let the day show you itself rather than you go find the day. Yes, yes.
Great.
I feel very, very, just so much space in what you are saying, in fact.
I do too.
Yes, yes.
And I love it.
Yes.
I've just had such blissful experiences, very much like what the previous woman was explaining, and so much vastness, so much love, and just that seeing. And again, that's where I also question who's seeing, who's am I identifying here? Am I too involved in this?
Keep following what this eye, because it keeps popping up, and see what content it's carrying or what it's wearing, because if it still is forming itself into the sense of a person with certain kind of traits or characteristics, keep looking and seeing that, well, if such characteristics or qualities are perceived, it is only something phenomenal, and the seeing, be present in the seeing, and see if the seeing resembles the one seen, and you see it. You follow?
Yes.
Because the seeing is more constant, is more permanent, and it is impersonal. And as you keep recognizing that your true place is the seeing, and not the idea shaped about who you are. Because very often we relate to this idea we have of who we are as the fact of your being, whereas the fact of your being is housed inside the awareness itself. And the awareness is not a person. Yeah. And this is what, as that gets confirmed, the image begins to thin away and just break up. Yeah. And all that the image or that person seems to be attached to, or, you see, that all just collapses into the space again. Yeah. And you see, but I'm just here, you see.
Yeah, and that's happening. When I do have those moments of a person moving in and feeling, I have to do this or protect myself or say something, then I immediately know it and see it. And
yes,
sometimes
it must all end back into space.
Okay, yeah.
It's the space of the awareness itself. You see, and no one can understand you. So,
no, I know.
There's nothing to really understand in that kind of way.
I think that's the hardest for me now is I sort of live in my cocoon in a sense, because I don't have you or the community around me to just sit with. I'm alone, but not alone.
Yes.
But
You're alone as everything, aren't you?
But people are looking at me differently. I mean, they're really staring at me and looking at my face and wondering. I can see, I know. Anyway, I just think, okay, there's something going on.
Well, again, like I say, keep that open space, because you don't know what is being sent.
Sent by the other, or by myself, or the
No, just within this universal unfolding.
Yes.
Yeah. Because wherever you are, that situation is going to be a gift in some way. You might think it would be really, really nice to have a sangha around me or whatever it is, but just continue being as you are, and you see what happened. I'd love to follow up a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before you go, I just want to add, because as I listened to you say that, for some years, I had nothing to relate to, nobody at all, in my town, it's moving about in this in this kind of bubble, moving about, and not finding anyone to relate to. As my life became more subtle, I wanted to talk to someone, I wanted to. Perhaps it wasn't the right time, because maybe there was some ego in that too, to keep moving in this. But it was so rich, so complete. It was so full. And I felt like it's too much love for one being, Yeah. And there's a kind of impatience to want to share, but nothing was showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on hindsight, you see, but it was all perfect. Everything's perfect.
One thing is relationships have shifted, like you mentioned during the retreat. Some people are moving kind of in and out, But what I've also witnessed is just so much more love for the relationships that are close to me, like my parents. You know, those triggers are just fading away.
Yes.
So they see that there's so much more love and acceptance of them, and so they really welcome me more. They're kind of, I almost want to say like more unconditional with me and their love, and that's just beautiful, that unfoldment happening, and that's happening with people, my friends, and just strangers more and more as I open, you know, this and
Yeah, because the irritant is not there in you anymore.
Exactly, that's lovely.
Yeah,
so
it makes space for them to kind of,
you
know, for the real love to manifest like that.
Yeah. It's really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Oh, so wonderful. Love you. Very great. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
I've never asked you a question before, so it's a fantastic opportunity.
Thank
you. My question was about the heart. You mentioned one of the things you said that affected me most at Satsang was that your heart is the light of this world.
Yes.
Don't let the mind hide it.
Yes.
But a lot of the time it feels like me and my heart, and I've been really curious about, it feels like, I wonder whether everybody else has similar experiences. It's like the heart is beautiful and at times feels perfect and whole, but it sometimes feels like it doesn't have any relation to who I am. It's it could be.
It doesn't have any relation to who you appear to be at that time, because who we think we are is constantly changing as time flow, relationships come and go. Something is your own consciousness is moving into different regions, expanding, sometimes contracting. That produces a different feeling internally about who you are. And we have been many persons, you can say, throughout one lifetime, in terms of what we perceive ourselves to be and so on. When we speak about the heart for me is a very constant dimension, a very constant place, unlike the mind, which is roaming about like this. And largely, the idea we have of ourselves is usually shaped as a kind of like the constructed self is largely mind-based and mind orientations. You see, so this is why you feel that the heart bears no direct relationship to who you are. Sometimes it feels very much an integration is there. Other times, like there's some distance.
Yeah. I mean, I never even used to have a particular awareness of the heart. Sometimes when people said the word, I didn't really know what they were referring to. But
Yes.
but it's like I can be devotional to my own heart. But I just wonder if there's any way to kind of to move beyond the heart in some ways, or to.
If you move beyond the heart, where would that be taking you? Into what?
Yeah, well, I suppose because people talk about expansion and being everything, and that kind of. I wonder if the heart is a gateway to that, or if I'm kind of trapped in the heart.
When we use the heart, and clearly, of course, I mean, I'm sure viewers also will have a sense that we're not speaking about any kind of physiological organ or that. We are speaking a much more non-physical thing. We're talking about a dimension of... okay, for many people when we speak about heart, they often refer to the heart like it is like a center of emotion or a center of deep feeling or intuition.
Yeah.
But when I speak about that, I'm speaking about the core self, that which is. We can use the word heart and pure awareness. They are synonymous for me. They'll be one. Or the pure self, or the God self, or the absolute. And it will all be sort of like one. There's a oneness about all of that. You see?
Yeah.
So normally when we hear the word heart, it carries a warmer vibration. You know, so when we feel it seems to carry a warmer vibration than if we speak about it in terms of like pure awareness or the absolute. That feels much more abstract and a bit more conceptual or something. But for me, I'm referring to the same thing.
Yeah, I might have described it as the spiritual heart or something at one time.
Yes. Yeah, we're not talking obviously about concrete things, but much more dimensions of being or subtleties of consciousness and being and so on. But when I speak of heart, it carries no physiological, concrete, elemental quality at all. It's something. It's the source of them. It's the source of them, and yet the source has no shape. It's like that. Yeah. And perhaps for this reason, there's much hesitation for people as they are moving more deeply into that region towards, when the attention is introverted rather than extroverted. Usually, for much of our life, our attention goes out through the senses towards sense objects and projected field, like this.
Yeah.
But when we refer to the terms such like spirituality or meditation, contemplation, and so on, we're talking when the attention is introverted, and not just in the realm of emotions and thought and feeling, but to such an extent where even emotion and thought and feeling seems external to something, a space which is beyond, these type of I would call them they're still sort of like objects for me. The emotion, there's something tangible, something you can feel that's subject to change, that comes and goes. When I refer to the heart as source, it does not come and go. And what I endeavor to show is that is the root and the source of all sentient beings. It is the same. But in much the same way, as you say, for a while, you could not relate to the heart. You were not aware of the heart in the context that we are using this term now. But you grew into that understanding. It became alive for you. In the same way that when I use the word heart in its absolute sense, in its purest sense, it will become alive and true for you the same. And you'll see that, but that's always been here. And so that which has always been here has been so infrequently seen and recognized that for some people it's not at all in their consciousness that such a dimension exists.
So is it okay to think of that as the self?
Yes.
Yeah.
When we speak of the self, capital S, if you want to say, it is referring to that.
Yeah.
The source self.
Yeah.
Which is beyond the conceptual definition or any shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say be inside the cave of your heart, which I liked, is that kind of quite a good way for me to kind of dwell on it?
Yes. It invites the introspective attention into the most subtle, a sense of inwardness, to the extent that all the kind of the outer fascinations, they thin away, because of lack of concern. Because the more the attention is pointed inwards, you see, it becomes fascinated and attracted towards the source. It's like it experientially feels like it's moving to land into the heart. And as it's doing that, it's actually leaving, not in any sort of deliberate way. They're just thinning away like a meteorite falling to the earth and just vanishing as it comes. It just vanishes into the heart, you may say.
Yeah, and that's the most wonderful and powerful thing that happens to me in satsang. But there's usually a thought that, oh, I have to finish this. I have to kind of see who's observing this kind of.
That's not a bad approach to see what is observing that, because if there is such a thing happening where the the sense of identity is just deconstructing or melting as it seems to merge or come closer to the sense of its source, you know, what is aware of this? You see? And I ask that this question is not offered to the mind, who is going to suggest some ideas about it, but that it should be directly felt and seen. And that the best way of this is, in a way, to be empty of every notion that may interfere with clear seeing. You see?
Yeah.
So that you're shown rather than you're creating. So say, you don't need to create here. Just be so totally empty. I gave, during this recent meetings, an example which I think might be useful here, because I said I had the privilege of sitting with two doctors who had some things to say to me about this body. And we sat together, and they were sitting in front, and I was sitting like this, and I was totally open. I had no opinion. I was just here. And they came with so much love, actually. But I could sense such total openness that, in a sense, it's almost any kind of I is not here. You can be so open that there's no person here, because the person is really open. You see, it's always expecting some bad news or something. So that kind of openness, which is so receptive, it's so sensitive, you see. So your approach in this kind of way of looking, when you ask the question, you know, who is watching all of this? Don't come with a prepared notion of who might be that. Be totally empty, so that you come to know without study. You see? And to see if the one who perceives this is different from this.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. The only other thing I notice is when I talk to you or talk about it, it just goes a bit psychedelic and a bit trippy. You know, I want to get away from that.
Okay. So let's say that there's some sensations of something becoming psychedelic or trippy. That is also sensed. It's only another sensation, and that will pass. And that which possesses the ability to perceive psychedelic effects or any trippy sense, that is not passing relative to the trippiness.
Right.
It is a much more grounded ability within oneself that spontaneously picks up on these sensations. But I wouldn't give them any great labels, you know, as though they are so significant, because any kind of trippiness is not the aim of our conversation.
No, just phenomena.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. You have first.
I wanted to ask you what you meant about grace. I've heard you say that word a few times. And there's a lot of things I just don't understand in the satsang. There's a lot of words, and I find a lot of words just difficult.
Okay.
But there's one that's stuck in my mind that I just needed to know what you really meant.
By grace. It's a difficult one, this one. What I mean by grace, it is like a flow of goodwill towards you, unexpectedly, undeserved in some way, you can say. It's like something that comes, that when it enters into your orbit, into your heart or your field of awareness, is totally in support to your well-being, to your joy, to your aliveness, to your life. You see, and it feels like I didn't pay for this. I didn't go looking for this. Where did this come from? And I feel that everyone's life is touched by this very indefinable quality that comes, that you cannot argue with it. It simply just arises. It can be felt very, very powerfully sometimes to just fill your being. You feel unexpectedly happy and full of joy and lightness and fearless. And your sense of person or your sense of personal awareness seem very remote, far. It has nothing to do with that.
Sounds great.
Do you know it or not?
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. I just know that there's a reason why it's stuck in my head. So I was like, oh, well, this is the relevant thing for me to ask.
Yes. And some of the things that we speak about, like it is not uncommon that people sometimes come into satsang for the first time, that they really don't get it. They don't understand what I'm saying. I have the sense that I'm speaking about the most simple thing. But they say, what is he talking about? I don't have any clue.
That was me in satsang on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah. And it can go on for quite some time. And what is incredible is that people keep coming. What's he talking about? I said, well, why do you come? I said, I don't know, something feels okay to come or whatever. I said, it's okay like that. That it is not only in the words. Satsang is not just an exchange of concepts. It's actually the environment. It's almost like you're like a kind of sponge that is soaking up goodness. And it doesn't have to connect. Sometimes the mind is the last thing to connect with because it's the most active part of our functioning. And so it's already got so many notions about things that there's very little space for anything new to come in, especially something new that seems different.
Yeah, I think I just, my mind is always so active in the jobs that I do, and
yes.
I just didn't need any more thinking, so
yes,
I find it difficult, which is why when you said at the beginning today about the path of devotion, I just thought, I'd love to hear you say something about that. I wonder if maybe that's more my way.
Yeah. Sometimes I say to people, just come, and just sit down. And if you don't hold any particular shape, I'm not going to assess you. I just know that if you're here, something very good brought you here. I know that. Even if your person says, well, I don't understand what I know I'm going there, and it's so expensive, and why all these people, I never understand why I might come in. Still, it's taking care of you. Like that. You see? And gradually, in some unexpected way, it seems to come like an old Polaroid picture that just slowly comes into focus in front of your eyes. Sometimes your life just comes back into focus in a way that you couldn't really work out. You see? And yes, it could be that more devotion and this thing more feels true for you. We don't know. Because for me, these satsangs are also full of devotion. And even people who come, who feel that they are more philosophical and devotion is not for them, I would say to them, don't close your mind. We're not trying to sell you anything. Just come and be open, and don't limit or define yourself. Just come, because all of this is in you. You see, and the most what we are discovering is our universality, which includes every expression, is there somehow. But you don't have to practice every expression. It's not even practicing anything. But it's there. Easy. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Who's coming? You come first. And try and see. She'll help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Geeta mentioned grace, and I feel like so much grace has allowed me to just come to this situation just to ask you. And I guess the first thing I want to say is just thank you for like allowing me to remember the space where all the phenomena can come and all the emotions can come and like everything can happen around me, but I still feel like I am the space where everything is happening, and
good.
it's very beautiful, like just to be like that with everything that's going on around.
Yes.
And even when I'm in the space, even when the mind comes, when I'm really grounded in the space during the day, it has no effect. It's actually quite funny. Like it feels like I'm a big boulder and it's an ant trying to move a boulder, and even that happens. And right now I feel like I'm in what you said before about the battle, where I'm in this space, but the mind will come and it'll go, and I can kind of laugh at it. But then during this London intensive, something arose, like another question, and I'm trying to work out if this is a true question or if it's again the mind coming through like another path. And the question actually is, why does it keep coming? Because when everything else comes, like when the phenomena comes, or when emotion comes, or everything feels like it's just very natural. Like when I said I'm the rock, it just feels like it's just rain falling on the rock, and I'm the rock, but the rain is just going around it. But with the mind, it feels like something different, like it's something that's trying to change, whereas the phenomena is just there and it goes, and I'm not there. And I was wondering.
Let's back up a little. So you said the phenomena is just there. The images you presented, like the rain falling on the rock, but it does not affect the rock, or an ant trying to move the rock, but it just has no effect like that. In what way is mind different from that?
Because it feels like the mind is trying to change something, whereas the phenomena is just passing.
Mm. Why is mind not also phenomenal? It possesses all the qualities of phenomena. It's inconsistent. It arises very arbitrarily. It is without true substance. It seems to come it seems to get energized and become something by connected with an interested source. And when the interested source, which we may call the thinker of thought, and the thought come together with interest, it ignites into thinking. But a thought appearing by itself, without identity, has no weight, it has no power, has no potency. Effectively, it's nothing, and easily forgotten even. Maybe it doesn't even need to be forgotten, it's not remembered in the first place. But as soon as it connects with identity, then it seems to come alive and wants to make a story and to create the sense of a person to whom the story belongs and so on. I would say, in what way does it differ from other phenomena? It is just like that. Except that it seems to have intention or something.
Yeah.
Whereas the other things just seem to be innocent, they seem to be just rain falling and moving like this.
Yeah.
But mind comes sometimes with a seeming intention, like it wants to intervene, it wants to interpret, or to change, or to build, or to challenge, or something like that.
So even that intention that I feel is actually just perceived.
Yes.
And that even itself is the phenomenon.
Yes. If there is a reaction to the seeming intentions of the mind to engage, and that tendency or the pull to engage is becoming increasingly noisy, and then you can look at, to whom is the mind appearing, you see? And who's trying to strike a deal with who is it trying to? Because as the ground of awareness, it cannot intimidate this ground. It can only intimidate the idea you have of who you are, you being the ground. So if there is some potential inside the consciousness to shape itself in the form of a person, and this person is the only thing that the mind can really engage and transact and have some kind of relationship with, then it's good to see that, because most things coming from the state you're speaking, you can easily ignore. You see, and also if you are so established as that, then there won't after a while be anything to ignore, because there isn't anything there to catch enough attention to be worth ignoring them.
I really felt it when you said even the feeling that I have of intention from the mind, that itself is the phenomena that is coming through me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Very good. One becomes in some way like when there isn't this you can say the potential arising in or inherent in consciousness is a potential to send forth belief or interest or identification, which then can create a sense of a separate autonomous entity like this, which itself is phenomenal, and who will engage with its own projections and start a life that creates a sense of separateness, and then can go far afield to the point where it seems to lose contact with its source. Although it is totally illusory, the consciousness is sufficiently engaged in that to experience a sense of separateness. And it can move so far as to even feel that there was never such thing as a self. There was never such thing as a source. It is all just hocus pocus, or even. This is an amazing thing. Only then to fall back so completely into the source, whereby it is seen that one who went out on a journey and lived a life of his own in some apparent autonomy was totally dreamed.
So is it always going to be a play where the mind will keep coming and it's just...
No. The more you are firmly established in and as the self, you see, the less potency will be in the mind. It will gradually just lose. Just like weeds that grow in your garden. If you keep pulling them up, they grow again. Keep pulling them up and pulling them up. At one time you just frustrate them and they can't come anymore. In the same way, as the very coming up of them is to give a chance for the consciousness to exercise the ability to ignore them or to pay attention to itself. It's the same effect. To not fall into the pull of that leads to delusion. To that extent, it is pulling the weeds, killing the potential of the mind to arise as some sort of nuisance or something. And then it just abides as this. But as I was saying earlier, the as long as the body is there, and the consciousness and the life force, the potential for thought activity and for some form of identity is there. I feel it is good. It keeps a certain alertness in the consciousness.
Yeah.
But they are so thinned away. Your life is so full of joy. And it's not a life for you.
I definitely feel that. It's just...
Yeah, yes. I mean,
like,
you had that joy, but it's not like, oh, this is all for me.
Yeah.
It's not just like this. Your life becomes prasad for the entire world. You don't say that, but you see that you would say, I mean, ridiculous. How can the joy be for who, me? Who is? Thank you. Thank you. Very great. So good. Thank you. Yes, yes. Very good. Who is it now? You come first. After you. Perfect. Perfect. Maybe this card can be put at the back. Very good. Namaste, my love. It's come off, Jaya. Okay, it's that's it. Okay. Okay.
This is the silent retreat. Was my first retreat.
Oh.
So, and I think when I was there, you mentioned that one of your experiences when Papaji was talking, that you were like a meteor burning up, not to hit the earth, hiding behind a big man, peeking. I think that was a little bit like me.
Yes.
So I was thinking, I'm looking at my consciousness, thinking, no, I don't think there's anything really trying to sabotage me, but I do sense a person. But when I look at this, I think there was me trying to put my hand up and something kept pulling my hand down. So there's a little bit of something in there that's creating a fear or a shyness to prevent me coming up. But I'm here.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I come from a different practice with the energy practice, working with energy. So now I'm looking at your teachings with the consciousness and Advaita, self-inquiry. And I think if I explain to you the process of what I've been putting into practice since the retreat, that might help a little bit.
Yes.
So to start with, you're always saying coming back to the awareness.
Yes.
So I find that there's almost like a person looking at the awareness, trying to be the awareness, and then I think, hang on, so there's effort involved. And so I remind myself, okay, you say it needs to be effortless. So I think now I'm aware there's effort, I'm aware there's looking at the awareness. So let's just be aware. So I come back to awareness all the time. And then I come into a space where it's like I'm looking from behind the eyes, so I'm not in front, I'm more behind.
Yes.
And there's a sense of silence and space. I'll try and do it as we're talking. And then what happens is I find also then the energy starts to work inside, and there's a lot of pressure in the head. And it's like I'm watching the pressure, but I'm trying to stay aware of the awareness. And then it's like something opens up in the head a little bit, and it's a sense of a little bit of relief, release, expansion, silence starts coming, and I'm like losing the awareness. And then I'm reminding myself, stay aware, and that takes me out of being wherever the energy is trying to pull me.
You have the sense of losing awareness.
Yeah.
It's the sense of losing the awareness of, but not awareness. Because if you have the sense of losing something, it requires a certain awareness to be aware that you're losing something, you see? So the awareness is still there, and the pure awareness is untouched. The different modes, you may say, that consciousness can take, which is like somehow, as the energy becomes much more, whatever it is, moving, somehow I'm losing consciousness of my contact with awareness or something like this. Seems to be going. But all of this, your ability to perceive the movement of energies or whatever is because consciousness or the awareness is there, first and foremost. Because of which the ability to perceive and the functioning of perception also, even the functioning of perception is perceived in the awareness, in the unchanging awareness.
Right. So I was wondering, like with the seeing and the seen, can the seen merge, the see or the seeing merge with the seen?
Okay, so can the
you know what I mean.
seeing?
Yes.
Okay, say again. Can the seeing or can the seer?
Can the seeing merge with the seen? It's like the energy is trying to pull me into something.
The thing is that there's the object of perception, there's the subject of perception,
yes,
and there's a functioning of perceiving.
Right.
It's all one, isn't it?
Yes.
It's happened together with, like this.
Yes.
So if you say, if the seeing merges with the object of perception, but that will also be perceived, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Does it create any change in the seer?
No.
If such a thing took place? No.
No.
The seer is unalterable. And is the confirmation that the seer remains untouched, irrespective of whatever is happening in the field of changes or outcomes. The seer is constant. If the seer has some vested interest in the seeing, then the seer is not pure seeing. If the seer has some interest in what is functioning in the field of perception, then it's all linked. Then there must be a deeper space of seeing which is free from invested seeing.
Yes.
And then will prove that seer automatically becomes phenomenal. I know the words. It's words. There's not just words. No. When you understand, you see, it's kind of, the words are peeling away the thing and bringing them back into this emptiness, isn't it?
Yeah. Because at the same, I'm aware of looking at you now, and it's like looking in your eyes. I'm feeling something in me, and
yes.
I'm feeling a space and it's like an emptiness. There isn't a personal form or identity in that sense.
Yes, there's that space or realm from which whatever arises external to this body or internal to the body are still not affecting that seeing.
Yes.
It's like it's total silence, it's total space. It doesn't gain any benefit, even from someone is meditating. It doesn't affect the source.
No.
You see, all that happens in meditation may alter the meditator. Because even the meditator and its intention to meditate and the purpose of the meditation, which is to find the awareness, are all perceived in the awareness, which is unaffected by such a meditator and its intention.
Which is always there.
Yes.
So it's like being at home, wishing you could go home.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's still this little dynamic going on. It's like I'm moving out into, it's like I'm working to come into awareness. So I'm always reminding myself, come back to the awareness.
Yes, because
so
you have
there's
an
a person,
idea
yes,
that you are separate from awareness.
and then there's the awareness again. So, is it?
The ideas produce the effect also.
Yes.
Because if there's an idea that whatever I'm doing is moving me closer to awareness, the very idea is creating the experience. The ideas and the belief in the ideas create the experience of separation, and the closing gap of separation is all dreamed inside the inseparable awareness. But for a while, because we have for so long identified with the body and the sense of being an individual and separate from other bodies, so the whole notion of separation somehow pervades even the subtler aspects of ourselves in the dimension of feeling and thought, and then even subtler still into the place of awareness, is still carrying this subtle smell of separation like that. Whereas in fact it is not,
It doesn't actually exist.
It doesn't exist.
But while ever this tendency for the consciousness to go out, there does appear to be effort to bring it back in.
Yes. This is a game that we enjoy and suffer. and is a game called life. And sometimes the consciousness, which I say paints a self-portrait of itself as a person, and then believes intensely in this person, so it becomes effectively personal, and then dreams of a day when it will merge again in its source. It's all a dream. But it was the intention of consciousness in its most subtle being to manifest as separation in order to have the taste of these journeys of discovering and coming closer and becoming separate from God and finding again this reuniting with and somehow. It's all the play, and it seems as though when consciousness manifests and play in the form as separate individuality and beings, it totally loves experiencing all aspects of experiencing, the uncertainty, the aspiration, the falling away, and the efforts to come back, the separation and the union, and the unpredictability, the pain, the healing. All of this it's immersed in this field, sometimes addicted to experiencing even. And then somehow, only perhaps at a certain point where it begins to suffer its experiencing, or to find it burdensome, the weight of duality, because it's not able to navigate smoothly in the ocean of duality anymore. Then it yearns for rest. And this yearning, you can say, creates a sense of a journey and a closing of a gap of separation, finally coming to discover its unity as a one consciousness, which we call liberation or self-realization or something, and that is the great dream or the great play of God, or what we may call it like that. But on every level of the expression, because it's consciousness behind it, every level feels real.
Yes.
Only as you're coming from one state into maybe a more subtle state, you can look back and evaluate the state you were previously in. While you're in it, it seems like it's everything.
Yes. Yes. Because I'm wondering, like coming to just pure awareness, but the bliss and the joy isn't there, so I can't quite be in it, can I?
The bliss and the joy isn't fully there when you come into the pure awareness. Does it feel too abstract or something, or something? What you mean? The bliss and the joy is not there. Where's the bliss and the joy?
Well, the bliss and the joy can still be seen, no? So
and experienced.
So the awareness is even beyond that.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that in the recognition or in the full realization that oneself and awareness is the same, bliss and joy is sacrificed. Not at all. No. The bliss is there. What happens is that the joy loses its phenomenality. It doesn't come and go. It is like it has become one with...
I see, yeah.
You see, there's a joy that comes and goes. And there's a joy that doesn't come and go.
Yeah. But if I'm not feeling that full bliss yet, or experiencing that, or then there's something still covering, no? There's person there?
We are not so much to be concerned about that.
Okay.
The most important thing to be concerned is to try and clarify and confirm your position as that place from where all the functions of perceptions report to that place. And it is found that here is the unchanging. That every subtle perception reports to that ground state. But it itself neither expands nor contracts. It is immutable and unaffected by the various play or streams of consciousness in its manifestation as name or form or mind and matter or whatever it is. You can come to that place. That is the space I call of pure awareness.
There's no doer there.
No, but yet activities continue to manifest. This is the thing that needs to be clarified, because it can feel like, but I'm moving into non-action. And what will happen if I come into non-action completely and total stillness? Then I would just be like some kind of frozen being. The mind is saying that. But that is not what it's there, you see? When you come to the realization and the actuality of your being as being the unchanging, and then the changeful becomes totally different. There's no need to try and possess it. In fact, you can experience a changeful as in total healthiness. To see the healthiness of changeful in the realm of the changeful. Let the changeful be changeful. Let the unchanging be. They are kind of like one, but the changeful is in time, and so it is momentary or temporary. But you don't suffer the temporariness of it.
I understand.
Yes.
It's timeless.
And what is good is that we are talking, and our talking is not about some abstract thing. As you're talking, you're looking. As you're speaking, you're seeing. It's not something theoretical or intellectual. As you're talking, it's just like you're seeing, yes, and finding, okay, but here there's something stuck here. What is that? And we can look together now, not in some old state, always now.
Because I'm still feeling there's a little bit of there is and there isn't. It's a strange thing. It's like the awareness is there, but I can still feel like the consciousness is holding on to a sense of persona, but it's not strong, but it's mixed still.
Yes, it's okay. It is okay. It depends now whether there is a strong enough concern as to make that really matter.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, there's a sense that there's some kind of phenomenal sense of being. It's okay for you. Maybe it's okay. You say, no, I want to scrub that out completely. Then I say, well, don't get obsessed with it though, because then it gets turned into another thing. Then you start to become a cleaner of consciousness. You see, like this. Somehow you see that, take that, and you can measure, you can take the temperature of it, Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say, there are spots in the moon, but it doesn't interfere with its light at all.
Yeah.
As long as the body and the consciousness is there may be some little sensations are coming of, it's okay, it's okay.
I guess the fact is I can see it, and that's the lead to take me back to the seeing all the time.
Yes, it can be seen.
Yes.
But what makes you see it is the interest you have in it. You see, if it has it both ways. One is that it is there, and in that it is holding, it is catching, and it's catching a kind of person there. It's got a person hooked onto it, see? So whatever you try to do, the person, I still got a bit of you. I still have a bit of you, okay? So no matter how much you turn away, this bit of you is still on my hook, you see? Then in some way you have to say, I better take a look at that. Because otherwise, if there's absolutely no interest, the thing doesn't exist. So trust nature that if there is something to be seen, it will reveal it. Because you cannot lie here. It won't sustain a lie. It'll keep bringing it back in the face. And think, okay, you have to take a look at it. Or life will keep manifesting it in the form of the encounters you have with other beings. They'll keep on showing that, oh yeah, I have some trouble here. There's a me here that is still holding ground. And it's an invitation to look into this and to remove that, because it will always contribute somehow and interpret somehow in the seeing and become a kind of noise, which you can choose. Yes, this has to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Thank you, my darling. Thank you. I want to ask, before I call the next one to come, these talks, these kind of introspections, no? Do they seem without heart? Does it seem like we are in some laboratory or something? Yeah? Or can you feel the sense of presence and love here, even? Because we are speaking about things, we're not talking about angels, and we're not talking about, sort of like, worship and devotion that way at this moment. We are looking into the subtleties of consciousness and determining where are you in all of this. Is it without heart? Does it feel without heart? Because what you say gives me an indication of maybe how people would respond to this interaction we are having, which I feel is so beautiful, in fact. And something, please come in the meantime, yeah. It is the most penetrative introspection and exploration into the nature of the self. In this kind of mode of expression. There are other modes of expression. We can, if perhaps another group sometime, or maybe the same group in another mood, in another moment, another environment, maybe we'll speak in a different tone. We maybe talk about, angels and UFOs and stuff like that. Does it have any relevance to the self? Yes, it does. Let's talk about it. It is still the one. It's still the one in all of its aspects. So we have not limited this expression to say, here, please only talk about non-dual thought. Whatever it is that is real. For me, I don't see that we have to open another room and go to another room. It is the same one room of consciousness. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you to be here with you.
Thank you.
During the years, I heard so many different explanations about what the God is, how does it look like,
yes.
Is it there or is it here?
Yes.
I'm trying to find the answer within me, and during Satsang, the question which was burning within me, is it the God, the energy and vibration of my heart?
Mm-hmm. This is the question. Is God
yes.
the energy and vibration in my heart?
Of my heart, yeah, in my
yes.
heart.
Yes. Yes. And more. And more than this also. Yes. It is the highest knowing within yourself. It is the most subtle perception, and it is the perceiver of that perception, the God energy inside you. And yet no one can define it. We can recognize him, no? And then even the one who recognizes him is him. You see? It is an amazing thing. Especially when it's not just heard as ideas. When your whole being is lit up in that seeing, and you know for yourself in such a way that no one can refute it anymore. Your heart cannot refute it. You see it like that, you see? In a sense, I can say I was brought up very much in a Christian environment, and we always pray. We pray at meal times, we pray at school, we pray at church. People talk about God all the time in our town square. And the weekends people come and they sing and praise God. And many in Jamaica, we have more churches per square mile than anywhere else in the world. I'm not talking about churches that look like churches. Churches where people have turned their homes into churches, they've turned their gardens into churches, like this. So I was very familiar with in this environment, very comfortable. And yet it wasn't until 1987 that I can say I met God. So I think this is what you are speaking. I want to know, not just know as an idea, but it has to be a direct experience that somehow is confirmed, that is not only belief now, it is intuitive and direct experience.
Yeah, because on Tuesday I just felt I can't do anything anymore in my life if it doesn't come from my heart.
Yes. Yes. You know, this is actually good fortune. Because just imagine, you can't do anything anymore except come from your heart. That is good fortune. You see, it means that anything that doesn't come from the heart, well, I'm sorry, I can't do it. You see?
It sounds funny.
It sounds great for me. Because some other people have to think, is it from my heart or from my mind? And it's in the mind, and I still have a lot of energy, but for you, somehow, if it's not felt deeply in my being, there isn't any vital force to fulfill any of that stuff. There's no interest. I feel that is a very, very good stage and state.
Yeah, because I just felt that I'm not afraid of any change anymore. Because I felt some force within me.
Yes. Then leave everything to this force. Leave everything for this force. Before it manifested, you didn't know it. You didn't know when it was coming, how it's going to come. So by its own intention and power, it is present in you. You are fully blessed to have that. Now what to do? Just be very quiet and welcome this. Say, rid me of any notion of separateness and merge me completely with you. Replace me with you. If you know that force and you know that you have caused me to lose my desire for every other taste but you, then finish me off.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. It's enough like this?
Actually, it's if we have some time, I can stay a little bit more.
Of course, sometimes the people say, could you say something about? Can you say something about? I don't know if I can say something about. So. Like I can't talk. I can speak. If I want to, somebody say, you tell me about so and so and so. I say, well, we can talk about someone when they're not here. But if they're here, I can't talk about them. I introduce them. So I don't tell you about God. I tell people sometimes, you want to know about Jesus? But I can introduce you to him. Hey, you want to talk? I'll tell me something about God. Why is he here? What you want to meet? You want to introduce? Why not? This is direct.
Because I know it's different. It's difficult to explain with the words, because probably there are no words to explain is more about...
There is something already, because you cannot, for most people, maybe it's very difficult to start dry. Just go and start to talk. So what are you talking about? We're not ready for this. It has to be already an urge that is created from that dimension. It's not just coming just from your head. From your head, nothing at all. It doesn't matter. You can go there wearing gold and sitting in some great throne and have people singing hallelujah. But if it's coming from your head, it's nothing at all. You could be naked, unwashed. And if he comes from here, he'll get your attention. Because he will arise inside your heart. He will prepare both the speaking and the listening. It will be very different when it arises from the heart. So this is it, because sometimes we speak and it's just from concepts. I want to share concepts, and it's just like going to some kind of lecture. You just want to fall asleep. But when the living spirit and the presence has orchestrated it, then you will not be able to sleep. You are compelled, you know. You're in a living space. This becomes a living room. Not the living room, a living room. You see, because somehow all your energies rise for that occasion, you see. And each one in somehow, you become like a light that's been switched on. If we are only living by the mind, we are like light bulbs, unconnected. But when somehow your heart has begun to recognize and to be empowered by real seeing, real understanding, and grace and the presence of God, you're switched on. It's a very, very different vibration.
Actually, I had this kind of vibration yesterday. I was just sitting in one cafe in Covent Garden, and I was writing all these feelings about Satsang. And at the end, I just write it down a short prayer to you, to be with you tonight here. And I was just singing all afternoon this prayer, and the force from my heart was so strong.
Yeah.
And today I'm here.
Yes.
It looks like it works.
This is the life itself. This is life itself. It cannot be merely thought. It cannot be merely dry words or from the intellect alone. It has to be infused, has to be switched on, has to be ignited by the deeper power, you see. Then it becomes alive. It comes to life, you see, like that. You need not go out preaching and telling people anything, you see. You'll go to bed in this and you wake up in this. And it will not leave you. In the beginning, it may seem to come and go. Because God is seducing you. Come. And then He kisses you. And leaves you. Oh no, you go. There's a romance. No? Because this yearning must be alive in us somehow. The whole thing is so beautiful.
So probably this is the most powerful force of creation.
Yes, it is also the creative force. But it is uncreated. But it causes creation to come into play. And everything, every movement is part of the dance of this creation. Every atom, every molecule is dancing, vibrating in this God juice. As you become aware of it, yes, you feel that subtle carbonated feeling. It starts, the subtle vibration of being. But I point you to the awareness of that also. Not to dismiss this, but just to say, yeah, but this also is seen. So that you don't cling to any shape. Remain shapeless and let everything be revealed, but not waiting for it even. You're so sitting, marinating in that presence that it's just always feels enough. It feels enough. It feels enough. And then even if you say, listen, it's too much, it's enough, it's enough, there's too much joy. Still more come. You see, now the mood has become again now into the warmth of this other side of, you can say, of the seeking, which is perfumed with this joy and this warmth, this love. And at the same time we speak of the subtlety of thought and of the seer, and can the seer be seen, and how the mind comes into this deep introspective dimension, and it is saturated with peace. You see, is this peace, is it different from this love? They're same, see. Just don't define yourself. Don't say, I'm a bhakta. Oh, I'm jnani. No, you're no, I'm not on these things. I'm nothing at all. Then both bhakti and jnana can come and kiss you and say, we are very comfortable, can we stay with you? Yes, you can stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very good. Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
We're not going to have time to get all of them, but
okay.
But there's between the comments on the page and on YouTube, there's over 100 questions.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
You know, if we go through all of those, it's going to be a few days.
Okay. Yeah.
But I picked a few, and the first one is from Patricia, and she says, "When I look through the eyes only, I feel like it is just another layer of mind claiming to be seen or watching."
Sorry, when I look through the eyes?
When I look through the eyes only.
Only.
So I think what she means is kind of looking through her eyes and kind of seeing the world. I feel like it's just another layer of mind claiming to be seeing or watching.
Well, I don't get the point of what is the question. What is that? When I look through the eyes, I feel I'm only looking through another layer of the mind.
I think my interpretation of the question was that through looking through the eyes, there's still a layer of story or a layer of perception that sits over that, which is an obscuration to just seeing.
Okay, but what sees that?
That's the question.
She's to find out. You see, because I've asked someone before like this, who is looking from behind those eyes? And one man say, conditioning is looking out. I was very pleased. Conditioning is looking out. What sees or knows that conditioning is looking out? And then he said, oh yes. Hey, this is deeper, it's much deeper. This one, he's very quiet.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So then if it sees that what it's seeing is the mind is using the objects and then sort of like writing stories about them, that is seen, then it's at a certain point it loses interest. So that's just the mind chatting around again, just chatting. There's no need to give it such importance, you know. Just keep my focus where I am. That's not significant for me, you know. Someone else might get pulled into the story, and so in some way that one will become much less relaxed, because you've picked up some noise. You bought some noise. But the one who remains, having seen that it's just the mind is making blah, blah, blah about things, but there isn't the interest for that, then you abide in your quietness.
Nice. Nice. And Linda says, I've been listening to you for years now, and I've glimpsed moments of understanding, but I can't hold onto it, and I just slip straight back into my conditioning and dissatisfaction with myself and my life. And that's, I think that's a common experience people have. It's like they have moments and they glimpse, and then it can be frustrating because we try to hold on to that or get back to that.
Yes, what happens is that the curtain is pulled and the clear seeing is enjoyed for a moment. But then you say, slowly gets covered up again. And then something wants to have this experience of the clear seeing. What is not grasped, you see, is that the one who sees this, really the one who sees this, is assumed to be a person having that experience. But she says also, I have a glimpse of this, but then somehow I'm brought back into normal consciousness where I'm just caught up in all the daily thing, and I can't hold this. But these are all thoughts, these are all thoughts. These are all thoughts. The one who sees this has still not been discovered who that is. You're thinking it's a person. But when you know it is God or consciousness, there's no need to hold on to anything. Even if you take this statement I've made just now, leave every other statement and try to understand what I've said to you, you may find it is enough. You may find it enough. We think, even the one who says, yes, I saw for a moment that clear space, you see, a clear space of seeing, a glimpse. But as I turn my attention back to daily living, I'm again pulled into the noise and and into the state of personhood again, and I'm unable to sustain or to hold on to that beauty. You don't have to hold. Nobody has been able to hold on to it. Not even Buddha could not hold on to it. Nobody can hold on because it's not a holding on thing.
Many have tried though.
We have to try and we have to fail.
Yeah.
We have to try and we have to fail because that's not the way. It is the attempted way. But no one, because to hold on to it, maintains and sustains a sense of duality, of I and it. But there's only it, and I am it. Not I and it, I am it. But that quintessential discovery seems to be the final realization that we have, although it is the most natural, the most beautiful. The mind has to untangle itself from so much false investments. You see, it is invested in so much complexity that it effectively blinds itself by them. It has to be untangled through the grace of satsang, through introspection and through inquiry, to sort of keep showing it where your true place is. You see, it's like you got 5 sunglasses on. And you're trying to look at the world, and you're trying to look at, a Michelangelo painting. You said, it's very dark. It's very dark. Why didn't he paint lighter colors? And you said, listen, hang on a second, you need to remove this thing. You move these glasses, He said, that's much better. That's much better. I like it blue. I said, no, it's not blue. Actually, I would take off the blue glass, no? Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, but it's a little bit kind of convex. I'll take off this convex glasses. Like this. You're constantly seeing your projections, and all these have to be taken off till you come back to your pure sight, When you see the pure side, you say, it is perfect. It has always been perfect, but you are seeing imperfectly. In the same way, we are seeing things with all these ideas we have, all that we've picked up, and all our conditioning. They are also contributing and blurring and distorting and interpreting something that is pure in itself. And as soon as you come back to your true place, you see all those distortions, they are gone. And then you say, oh my God, it's always been like this. And I knew this. I saw when I was a little boy, I knew this thing. Well, something is like that. And the most distorted interpretation is when there is this I, me, this person, is the biggest distortion. And it is the last one to go, the last stain to leave. It colors everything.
Okay, another question. This is from Sepe, if I can pronounce this right, Sepe, I think. I've had a couple of events that I feel I'm on the verge of getting connected to awareness, but all of a sudden I feel a great fear of becoming non-existence.
Yeah, I see.
Can you help me?
Yes, the truth is that you who have the fear of becoming non-existent don't exist, actually. You see? I am careful to say this thing, but I have to say them because they are truths and you have to find it out. But it seems like, what is he talking about? It is just nonsense. How can you say I don't exist? I'm here. Yes, you are here as consciousness, believing you're a person. And your belief in yourself as a person is creating all this trouble in your life. You see, I'm on the verge of some, what, can you put the words again? I'm on the verge of...
You'll probably go back to it.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. Yeah. So the full question is, I've had a couple of events that I feel I'm on the verge of getting connected to awareness.
Getting connected to awareness. First of all, this is a thought, you see. Arising in awareness. This is a thought arising in awareness. I want to get connected to awareness. It is such a ridiculous thought, but yet universally believed. You see, universally believed. And you have to wake up also from this thought. My words will not be heard maybe for a while yet. It will not make sense. It has to implode from real understanding that this you who believe you will be connected soon to awareness. You have to see that this you doesn't exist in the way that you believe.
And just the second part of the question, that a great deal of fear arises of becoming non-existent.
Yes. Again, this is coming from the mind. The fear of becoming non-existent. Every night you go to bed, you become non-existent. Every night you go to bed, you surrender to non-existence.
They're not going to want to sleep now.
And how delighted you are when you go to sleep. You go to sleep. Oh, I mean, can you imagine if we had 24 hours, you could not sleep? It would be hell. And sleep, at least, it punctuates the day, which is full of continuous thinking and bickering, and give you a space of complete rest, where everything you leave aside, everything, even your beloved, not there, your cat, not there, your grandmother, your belief, your religion, your gender, your children, your grandparents, heaven and hell, everything you have forgotten. And you enter into a state of blessedness, and you can thereby rest. Rest from the functioning of perception. Rest from cognitive thinking. And arise again recharged and refreshed, rebooted in fact. Why? And you've just gone very, very, very happily, everybody surrender very happily into complete sleep. And we are also courting sleep. You go every place, in every country there's somebody, who does great business out of selling beds, promising the greatest sleep. Because people you have to sleep. And why sleep? To forget everything. You have to forget everything. The trick is to be awake and forget everything, and yet move in the field of everythingness, but without the intense psychological meaning that we imbue this life with. This is a secret. So this fear of falling into non-existence, it's only a sensation. You already are you're already the unknowable. But it's just that we are cultured to think differently for a while. One day, when you are mature enough to bear your own silence and emptiness, that day will be a great joy for you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
There's a question that someone asked about this from in Paris about the terrorist attacks, and it's obviously it's a big thing we could go, but the part of the question, and I think perhaps an interesting way to come at it, is the fear that arises in people or something like that. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to say about that and people, in any place you want to come at the question, but perhaps the place is just the fear that arises in people around something as significant as that and how it can shake our foundations.
Yes, it is important that our foundations are shaken, especially foundations formed in illusions. Because fear, we speak about fear, and the fear that arises in, say, an attack like what happened in Paris, and for sure it is terrible. But this fear is widespread, it's universal. And fear comes very powerful in us because we have forgotten who we are also. We have forgotten who we are. We believe we are bound by these bodies, we are these bodies, which we then believe and see that the body is perishable, and the moment consciousness, which is imperishable, identify with a perishable body, a subtle trauma and fear comes into existence because it knows I'm on a countdown and one day this will end. That's the cost of that belief, you see. Fear plays its role on the stage of life also, because when our sense of mortality is threatened, it automatically produces an aspiration for freedom or for looking more deeply into the meaning of life. The more vulnerable we feel, the more open we become to really wake up to the possibility of a greater understanding and to raise the consciousness to a greater height. The more comfortable we are, the more we go to sleep. Now, nobody will willingly invite a life of calamity and great pain and suffering, you see. But yet, for most of us, it is the challenging things in life that really offers us a door into a higher way of being, because you don't have the luxury of safety. And when you feel unsafe, automatically we try to find that place whereby our life will not finish, I say that death is one of God's great ideas, because the fear of death so terrifies living beings that it inspires in them or drives them to search for the imperishable in themselves, without which they will not go to higher states of consciousness. So fears do have a role to play in the life, as death is, and pain, and difficult relationships, and all the things that we find ghastly. They're aids to awakening in some way. And life serves this meal, acid grace, to help us to awaken, each according to their capacity, as is served by the Spirit of God. whatever it may seem, as I said, in the big picture, all is good. Have to go beyond the beliefs, I am this, I am this. And nothing wrong with it. This is beautiful. A beautiful machine. Biological machine that supports consciousness. You see, it is the food and the support for consciousness in its functioning. But this is not eternal. You see, recyclable, but not eternal. Because you cannot kill the elements. They can only reform themselves into other shapes.
So something else that also happens with fear, it's something I've observed since, many times, but especially in these recent days. When people are in fear, it can go in different ways. One of the ways it goes is it tends to reinforce people's positions and their stories. And people sometimes become even more deeply entrenched in their story because it's infused by the fear. And I wonder and that seems to cause more stuckness in the world. People become more afraid, they become more attached to their position, they become more... Anything you can offer that helps us break out of that cycle?
Very little voluntarily. I trust the world in its unfolding. What we need, we are served actually. But there's no callousness, there's no vindictiveness actually. The universe offers measures that are corrective rather than vindictive, and to give man a chance to examine himself and to grow more towards a world of kindness and openness. But nobody is exempt from pain and trouble, You could know however isolated your life might seem. If we only half suffer, we can endure and become even stubborn. But when you fully suffer, it brings you to a place of surrender, of letting go, and which we hate until it sets us free. Then you can appreciate. We really are thankful ahead of time. All our sense of gratitude comes from hindsight, for the most part. When you look back and see, wow, it is good that thing happened, because if it hadn't happened, I would not be here now in this way. And always your life will seem somehow that if you are made sensitive to the ways of the inner self, you'll always feel you're in a state of grace. Yeah.
Nice. Changing direction slightly. This is from Piroska, I think. I'm struggling with some of these pronunciations. You said consciousness likes to experiment, but what if that's only my ego mind who wants to do that? So how do I know it's an urge to experiment coming from the mind? And how do I know it's coming from consciousness?
Mind is not different from consciousness. Mind is not different, it's an aspect of consciousness. But even if it's coming seemingly from the mind, it's because it has to come through this for now. And then you have to fully make your mistakes through the mind for a bit. Because we don't, first of all, we don't go directly into understanding. For the most part, the first things that happen is misunderstanding. Happens for quite a long time. And then gradually understanding comes through it. We like to think you hear, you understand. But often misunderstanding comes and the mind interprets, distorts things. I see this all the time. People completely distort my teaching. Do you remember you said this thing about crocodiles, sort of flying? And I thought, what? I never said anything like that. Yes, and they totally believe.
That would have been a good one.
And they really believe. I said, wow, what have you done? I mean, I have not said anything like that, And so there's a tendency sometimes also just to head it and to assume and to take out what your mind wants to take out. It takes a while for real listening to happen. Real listening itself is a sadhana. The interpreting mind interferes and pulls out all kinds of distortions and in the beginning. And gradually this clears though. Yeah.
So a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
This one's from N. Gandhi. I'm so grateful for your love and support. My question is, despite having experiences of who I am, in that awareness all arising and falling, yet it seems there is something is not complete. What should I need to do? Please help me finish whatever person is left now.
Yes. You have to come to satsang. You have to spend more time in satsang. It's not something you can purchase across the counter. You may have some experiences. Somebody can come to satsang for the first time and be so deeply struck that the mind is not seen again for a very, very long time. It can happen. But I would not expect that. I would say come and be in this environment, because if you give 2 hours to contemplation, guided contemplations and self-inquiry, it gives back so much into your life again. And I feel that it's good to make that effort and that sacrifice to come and be in the environment of satsang, and to say, go to sleep in satsang, wake up in satsang, have breakfast in satsang, do your work in satsang, spend your day, and to be in the environment where other beings who are similarly drawn and called by the same voice is with you. So you get a chance for your mind to be immersed in that, what I call the energy field of satsang and grace. And then somehow you're kind of waking back up into your natural sanity. Because otherwise, we spend so much time in the world of mind. We are really quite mad, you know? It's just that we are dressed well, and it's not taken to be a serious condition. But really, I feel it is good to invite people into more meditative habits, and to introspect, and to have discussions like this for those who are open. Even maybe eventually to bring these type of things more into schools. You know, when I speak with children, I speak about the same thing, but in a much simpler way. Not because I plan to, because in that environment, their minds work very simply, and my mind goes completely the same with them. We just speak in a very simple way. And their understanding is they're so happy. You see? So, it is so rich. So I would invite someone like him to consider a little bit, taking a little time or something, you know, take a week, 10 days, and come and be in this kind of environment. It will give so much back to your life, so much. You see? At least be open to the possibility. Because sometimes one question and one answer has cleared so much. But sometimes over and over and over you have to be hearing the same thing, because it's just not going in. And you know.
It's funny, that brings us on to the last question that I was going to ask. There's a few different versions of it, but one person put it quite succinctly, that they feel like they have moments, they feel like that they get it, and they're spacious and they're kind of open, and then their mind goes on thinking about their debts that they owe. And you know, another example could be someone gets it, and then they think about, you know, their responsibilities as a parent. What you say, of course, is so true, that being in spaces like this really hold people, and they help them drop deeper. But what helps the meeting of that with someone's life, and just the kind of the stuff that pulls them away from that, can feel like it pulls them away from that space.
In the beginning, you will experience being easily pulled to the left and the right. Particularly on this particular subject, which is really driving and striking at the very root of your existence. Sometimes we have a lot of energy to concentrate and to give, say, talking about football or any other kind of thing. But as soon as the light turns towards your existence and who you are and, what is the purpose of your life, already resistances are coming in, and uneasiness and so on, you see. And that is significant because it means that you are onto something. If so much resistance to come and to invite you just to look a little bit, if the openness is there, it can be the most beautiful, transformative time, you see. If you give a little space to it, and if you're with someone who is sensitive and can sense where you are and just talk you through, it's amazing what this outcome can be. It depends on the timing and if it is unforced and if it is a genuine encounter, which means that life brings it. It's your season and life has brought this. And it will stay with you much more deeper than your own efforts will impact, You just find that it goes so deep. Some very simple encounters can go so deep that throughout the day, in changing situations and circumstances, it follows you. It's like something that's like a warmth inside your life that just keeps being there, present with you, and guides you to places or to people or to certain kind of meetings that keeps on empowering this seeing, and in a beautiful way. But if it's just coming from the mind or from ego or something, it may not be long lasting.
Yes.
But this coming and going is natural for everybody. In the beginning, they can't sustain much, concentration towards these things at all. They find that it goes very easy, very, very easy. We just have to trust it's the way of life. Some people are on this path for a bit, suddenly disappear. You don't see them again, 2-3 years. And then maybe slowly they blow back in, but who can say?
So there are many more questions, but I know there's probably many more questions here in the room as well, but I want to be respectful of kind of your time, and
I'm good.
You want to take, if you want to take some more from the room, you
do
can.
We have any question in the room? Oh, okay.
I think there's questions in the room.
Okay, we can take some and see. Yes,
so
yes.
We can do this one of two ways. If they're just questions, you're welcome to ask them from where you are using the hand microphone. And if it feels it's a bit more significant, people are also welcome to come up.
This is good.
So, I'm open to both of those options.
Let's try like this. You have a microphone there? Okay. Very good.
Hi, Mooji.
Hi.
It feels very difficult to talk now. I've been watching my mind all the time in Satsang, and I've been having a lot of difficulty trying to take the courage to come and talk. It feels exactly like you say, like the mind brought a tsunami of thoughts, and like a sabotaging, not allowing to see.
Yes.
And some of the times it got so loud that I couldn't even hear what you were speaking with other people. It was like such a big noise in my head.
Yes, I know it very well. This one,
And I wanted to say thank you for being in my life.
Yes.
And I notice a lot of shaking. I will try and be quick. Most of the stuff that I wanted to say are gone now. And I feel that what is most important right now, the thing that I'm confronting with, and I heard it in Satsang, I felt it in Satsang and also from my own experience, is that seeing cannot happen through to any kind of thinking of the mind. And seeing this in a sense causes some kind of complacency. If I cannot think or do anything, then there's nothing to be done. But at the same time, I feel that I am open and here and present and willing, and I feel it's opening me and bringing me closer and closer to you.
Yes, good. And I want to say something because, for a while, it's as though you can see, because there is a power also working internally that seems to work contrary to your waking up. Like it's almost, it's as though it does not want you to recognize the truth of yourself and to be free from its influence. It arises sometimes that the mind simply wants to be the center of attention. And it will be there and blah, 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 and then in some way, as you say also, it can physically prevent you from hearing what is being said or something like that. No? So what you can learn from this is that really you must be really onto something that is working so hard to prevent your recognition from going further. That's the first thing. And second thing is very important, what I'm going to endeavor to share now, and this is this thing. You say that, somewhere it has come to your mind that, it is possible for you to come into the place of total clarity through the thinking mind. Yes, through the thinking mind. But I want you to know this thing. Again, I have to say that even if there is the tsunami taking place in the mental realm, no? You are not that also. You're not that. That has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. You are not that. Neither do you have to wait. You don't have to show such courtesy to the mind that you just have to wait until it's finished before you can move on. You who perceive mind must not hold on to any idea or identity such as you're a seeker, or you're this type of person, or this has happened before, or you have a history. That must be stripped away, if it can be stripped away, until you come to see that what is really here is only awareness. Impersonal, non-personal awareness, if you see this, because that is the truth. You're not making this up. You can see that even the notion of a person is only a notion, it's only an idea. You see, if you can see this, then the voice of the mind, the loudness of the mind or psychological mind will have no impact on you at all. The only way it can have an impact is that it seems to be preventing you from doing something. But this you, it seems to be preventing from doing something, is only your present idea of who you think you are. And it's only an idea. The awareness is constant, and the awareness is not an idea. It is not a person. And the tsunamis and eruptions of the mind can do nothing to alter this awareness. So if you could come to see, which is your final realization, that you are indeed this already awareness, it is over. It is over. If you have the firm belief and the loyalty in the belief that you are a person going through more and more refinement as you come closer and closer to the self, what I would call the evolutionary seeker, then you'll have to keep on going through journeys and stages, getting closer and closer to the awareness until finally you realize, when you come to see that you are the awareness, that all these various roles and stages that you played were all imagined. All the while you've been awareness, all the time, from before even the birth of this body. You come come to see it. So I am pressing a bit deeply into the muscles of being to say, can you feel here? You're here, you're here. But if the identity is more strong and more loud, it will seem like what I'm saying is just a little bit too far ahead for you. Like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but here it just feels, I feel so stuck and so stuck. And whereby I am trying to show you that stuckness is only a thought. Maybe it is not yet the time to see that, to see beyond that and to confirm it as a thought. It feels far too strong for you. And it's only strong by belief and identity because you believe it into existence. By the strength of our conditioning, we have a loyalty to whatever identity we are wearing currently. And so this final stage of seeing has to be slowly arrived at. You see? And I have to acknowledge that that might be so. That although it is what is, that the capacity to recognize that might not yet be evident, you see. But I have to give it a try. Because in some cases, someone just, thank you very much. Just, and it is seen. And all this superstructure of mind and its history and, you know, the legions of ideas and identities collapse into pure dust. But for the most part, just the mind seems to open up a little bit, relaxes a bit, and some more space returns, and the lungs open up more wide, and it's feeling, yes, I must be getting closer. You see? So something is still in the dream, but it's arising to the very surface of the dream, maybe, like that. But it's still inside the dream, but it's coming now to the surface, to the more sattvic field of the dream, whereby it is more receptive to direct pointing and can respond to direct pointing. You see, but for many, it takes, you know, this constant thumping of the drum. Thumping of this, pushing you back, pushing you back, pushing you back, sometimes to your irritation, until finally somehow you come back into that seeing. But it is working in so many ways. Even as you sleep, the tree is growing, the tree of awareness, you can say. You see. Just be encouraged that you're on the boat and we're out at sea. So it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you, Mooji. I just wanted to say just a quick thing. I will leave the microphone to someone else.
Sorry?
I just wanted to say a quick thing. I will leave the microphone to someone else.
Yes,
but
yes.
During this satsang, I felt like my experience since I know you, it has been like a constant coming closer and pushing away, coming closer and pushing away.
Yes.
And the metaphor came in my mind that it's like a stone skipping water, and it's like at some point I hope I will sink in.
Yes. It has to happen. It has to happen. It is so much of a common experience that as the consciousness is softening up from its tight feeling of a person, it comes into this kind of oscillation, this phase where when the pendulum swings towards the heart, there's a great feeling of grace and joy and liberation and, you know, just of pure beauty. And you feel, oh, thank you, I am home. Thank you, I'm home. But then the pendulum swings out, so to speak, towards the world. And you start to, oh no, my God. Oh no, I've lost it. Oh my God, when am I ever going? It's never going to be like this. And it swings back again, and you think, hallelujah, thank you so much. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh, how could I ever have doubted you? I mean, there's only you, and out again. Oh no, I'm going to manage on my own. It's so hard, and who's going to pay the bills, and all that. And again here. And so for everyone, for a time, maybe this doubt comes and these swings happen. But gradually, something inside begins to notice that there is another viewing point from where both extremes are being perceived. And somehow one feels, but actually there's a still place which is not the oscillation. All this is happening automatically, you know. It's not a doer's achievement, it's just grace. Because you're called somehow, you see, the mind, the sense of the person, you know. Number 7, your time is up. You're coming in. You have to row in, you see, somehow. And it comes again. And that as soon as this happens, you begin to recognize and learn and sort of, you may say, process, if you want to use this word, all this nonsense, move 10 times faster than before. You see, you start to move, and then the joy becomes really unstoppable. You know that there's no going back. There's a time when you just know that. You see, so yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mooji.
Very good, very good.
I love you.
I love you too. Anybody else you have? No?
Hello.
Hi, darling.
It seems that it's become clearer as I've been sitting here, but I thought I would ask the question anyway.
Yeah.
I've been able to just ask whether things are phenomenal or not, and I can often just find space just by asking that question. But where I did feel very stuck was the anxiety around my failings.
Around your?
My own failings.
Your own failings, yes.
So the question of whether I've done enough, whether I've got it right, it produces a lot of anxiety, you know, like this, and then I'm caught in a fight of, oh yes, I am doing it right, and this is the way, and then the doubt, and then it just goes backwards and forwards, and
What's watching all of this?
The feeling is that it's hard to watch it because the anxiety has so much pull in it.
Yes. But if it has pull, there's a watching of the pull. There's a watching, experiencing at the same time. Experiencing and watching. And knowing that is always just present. I mean, it's not someone knowing it. Like the knowing and the function, they go together. Otherwise, you know, if there was not a knowing and awareness of it, it wouldn't be there at all. It's just that we have a sense that we don't really know it. That there isn't a seeing of it. But you get used to and grow more into the recognition that it is seen, and becomes so natural and obvious after a while. But in the beginning, it feels like the noise is so loud, there's no gap for a seeing to take place. Yeah.
It does feel difficult because it feels that it feels like being kind of sucked into darkness.
Yes.
The anxiety does that.
Yes. Yes. We are believers in our movies, and to the extent that they take on an aliveness, a sense of truthfulness, and we doubt that we are imagining them, but they are imagined. We think that the effects are far too real to call it imagined.
Yes.
But you're going to see that all our life is imagined. Maybe it seems a bit premature to say it so early. But imagine, not that I'm imagining that this glass is here, not in that way, but imagining that, if I can give an example, these days there are many, we see a lot of film, action movie, for instance, and so on. And these days, they don't have so many painted backdrops. I mean, they use real scenes. So it's a real city, real roads, real cars, real rivers, real ocean, real sky, real people. All of it is real, except the story. The story is completely made up. You understand? So it's the things, the objects in our world, you can say they're real enough. They're still temporary because they suffer change and so on. But the context and the story about them is very private. When you watch a movie, it's someone's private version of events we're watching. Even the news is like that. And in the same way, our world is very, very private. You go to bed, you have a dream, and you could be married just today. You cannot let your beloved tune in and experience the dream as much in the way you do it. It's a very unique world. And in the same way, our waking world is just as unique, actually, because it's colored by so much projections and imagination and identity and desire and fears and so on. The herbs and spice, the condiments we add onto the world to flavor it to our taste, that we are used to it. You see? So in that way, I mean that it is a unique version. Everyone is experiencing a version of the world. There's one earth, but there are innumerable worlds. In each body, a very private perspective of a world is created in there. We are going to come to see that to the point whereby you can simply leave it, you know, because your world is born in you and will die in you, and nobody will need to know. No one will know. No one knows the thoughts of Alexander the Great. Nobody knows what his daily thoughts were, not even his wife or whatever, or Napoleon Bonaparte or Mrs. Thatcher or anybody. We don't know, we cannot know. Or your children's thoughts, we just don't know. It's a very unique, a very private affair. And in the same way, we like to give it, more meaning and more sense of reality. But it's no more meaning than anyone else's world that we create. This is not the world that we must meet in. We have to meet behind the stage of these worlds, into the domain of pure consciousness, which is not a picture world, but it's a world of pure feeling and pure understanding and no doubt or confusion as to where you're looking from. Even who you are is not so important. That you are is important. And that which you are is not confused with that which you see. All of that which you are is not confused with that which you see. All this becomes, it just opens up ways of understanding that cannot be taught through books. And it is already happening with you. It's just at some points it will speed up by itself and slow down by itself. But every part of the ride is going to be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you. This one there. Yes, please, you can come. Hi.
Nice to see you after a long time.
Good.
It was like as I was trying to find something to say now, but at the moment it's not exactly there. Actually, it's it's around 3.5 years now that I'm in some way I'm living in trust. I don't often know. I like having no money really, and like it's not that I didn't look. I often looked. Is there something I could do, or because it's quite difficult not to have any money at all, and but I just didn't feel anything I looked at. I never felt it is speaking to me. It just didn't feel true. But the last time I was often thinking, maybe I'm getting it wrong, or I'm not seeing rightly. I was not sure anymore if because often you said like to trust the life force, and I have been really trying that and doing that. But I don't sleep very well. It's like I often wake up and.
What I am sensing is a life being lived somehow in the name of a person, in the name of an identity, and that says, like, I practice this, I do this, I try to look, and this is, and if you were with me, or if you watch the videos really closely, you will see I'll always want to look when you say I, what you are referring to, as who you are speaking as, and where you're speaking from. Because if one retains the notion of oneself as merely the body, mind, and conditioning person, then you can just be a person thinking about how to become more spiritual, how to become this. The best thing for a person to do is just be in life, do your job, find a work, and do your stuff. Because if you're going to be a person thinking, I should just trust life, it's not going to work. Okay? If you're a person, if you are not prepared to challenge your notion as a person, because this person cannot really trust. It's only just waiting and seeing, okay, well, Mooji say I should just, trust life, and then see what, then something will come, and, But if the person you take yourself to be is not challenged, but who are you presently, and look into that, then it just continues. That I did this for 4 years, I did it for 20 years, or somebody I've been chanting for 30 years, I've been doing inquiry for 25 years. Yes, why? Show me how you do it. Show me now how you do it. Don't do inquiry for 26 years. Do it now. Show me what you're doing, and I'm going to point out what's the problem with you right here. We're very, very practical about it. I'm very practical. I'm not into any kind of hocus pocus or telling you, all you have to do is sort of sit under a banana tree and think about these things. No, I just say, I can see what is wrong. So you show me how you practice, or when you speak, as who are you speaking as? Who are you living as? And then we can see where the difficulty comes. Because how you came to be here today, because you called today, and we used to come to Satsang a few years ago. I have not seen you for a few years. It's okay. It's happened with other people too. But you called and I could feel somehow a very low energy inside. And I said, even after not seeing you for so long, I say, I would like to invite you to Sahaja, which I don't do so often. Because I have a lot of people waiting to go there. I want to move you about right in front of everybody. You come. Because I know you, you've been around with me for a while. Come, spend 10 days in Sahaja. You have no money, it's okay, we take care of that. You come. And still you say, yeah, but, and I see, no, you should drop that and say, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mooji, I'll come. You start to say, yes, but I'm self-employed and I don't know if I should go to the government. I said, my God, you're a prisoner. I open the door for you and say, yeah, but can you come back maybe next month, Mooji, because I don't think I'm ready. It feels like, what? You should grab it. I said, no, I've got to come out of this state of mind. Then I see, okay, fine, all right, maybe not this, and maybe I have to Skype with you, Skype. I already promised to Skype with so many people. Then Lakshmi say, tell her to come tonight. What about coming tonight? And this is how you came here. So tonight you must leave here tonight with a clearer thing. You cannot go back as you came. So you have to give me something, show me something. Because you see, I know that if you came to Mantasahaja in that environment, you cannot live like this. You'd have to run down the road holding your head. You would not be able to stay in the place. We'll finish you off. So now, we don't have 10 days to go Mantasahaja, so we have tonight. It's good enough. What do you think you have to be, or to continue to defend, or to be so loyal to something? And I want you to come forward and show, let's look together.
I don't know what to say at the moment. I've been often very confused, and sometimes I didn't know if the Advaita is the right thing for me.
I very rarely mention what I talk about as Advaita.
Sorry?
I very rarely mention or call what we're doing Advaita or non-duality and all this thing. Sometimes we use this word, very rarely. I just call it looking. Let's take a look. Because people hear Advaita, my God, what is this? It's not some kind of psychic operation or something. Or non-duality was being done. So I think, no, this. We're just looking. What's going on?
I just feel like a subtle fear.
Fear?
Subtle fear, something.
Yeah, fear of what?
Well, as you, what you have been saying now, I feel maybe I've done it all wrong.
Doesn't matter. If you've done it all wrong, tonight we're going to change all that.
And I thought, I always watched all these years, always satsang, like.
If you've been watching satsang for all these years.
And I felt like, I really felt in my being, or I felt consciousness, or when I'm alone, I'm peaceful and I'm happy.
Okay.
And I don't have any problem with this.
Yes.
And I felt, often I had the feeling, oh, it's too much for me to.
It's too much for you too?
Often I felt I want to have some more abundance, or I just want to have more because I couldn't go anywhere. I often had just not enough money, and I often just felt, well, this is your teaching and I have to trust it. And
I want to see if it is that though. Because also I have been in my life without money.
I know.
You understand? I wasn't preaching it, but I decided for a time, actually I said, God gave me the gift of poverty for a bit. And for a while I was without money. And sometimes my mind would go to it, because I always thought, I'm not interested in money. And I'm generally not interested in money. But when you have absolutely none, because when some people say, look, I'm broke, I got no money, they still have 3,000 in the bank.
No,
but when I'm broke and I'm broke, I have nothing. I'm shaking my shoes out to see if a 20p might fall into my shoes or something like this. So those periods has happened. And I have to look and say, the questions come, where's this God, have I been making it up? Because, my belly is going, I want some, I'm sure he knows I'm hungry, Then, is God only when I've got money in my pocket and I can buy my own lunch and I can have a cozy belief that there's a God? Now I have nothing now. Where are you? Hello? You see? Like this. So these things I have to feel down. Say, it's just, is belief a kind of luxury? Because now, nothing luxurious about my life at the moment. Where's God, is he? And like this, I began to see him. But I was always, first of all, trying tricks to see if I could, like my brother would come to the house and, I told you he came and he sat down and took a big lump of money out of his hand like this, like this, money. Much more than this. Like this. Take my pocket. You got anything to eat? Eat? I got nothing to eat. It's okay. Okay. Yes. Flip, 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 flip. See you later. And I'm looking at I'm saying, could you give me 5? But I knew I'm not to ask this. I'm not to ask. And I'm just saying, looking. And then he went. And the belly, werewolf. And then the bell come. My Savior. Come downstairs. With my auntie. Hello, darling, how are you? Fine, fine. Can I come up? Yes, come. I'm looking to see in the basket you're going to open some nice cake or something. And she's waiting. So, auntie, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to deliver these books to my friend. So I could watch my mind doing this thing. I said, so I had to go through this doubt also. Is there really God as provider? Maybe he just gives you things to think about. But things to eat, you must do for yourself. All these things, it's a very important thing. And then when I really was thinking, okay, maybe it's not going to happen, it's going to bed. If somebody come, oh, Mooji, what you doing? Let's go out. Come, boom, big things and stuff. I was watching all these ways. Little bit by little bit, somehow it's unfolded. start to be invited to travel to places that have no money. They took care of things that owned nothing. Had to be so stripped, so surrendered. You see? Those days I go to the market, sometimes in some place in Brixton Market I could go and buy 2 or 3 seeds of garlic, you know? The garlic, they break up, you have 2 seeds or something. 1 carrot or something, 1 carrot. And the people, you know, I love them because they don't make you feel ashamed. Like, 1 carrot? I say, what, you 1 carrot? Yeah, I take this one. How much? 3 pence. For a bit. I think I can't let my mother know I'm doing this. But only for a while, to test something. But it was freeing something inside. Then after the season passed, something opened up into abundance. How it was going on 3 years? What's happening? Your mind goes inside, isn't it? But not inside your mind, just inside. Don't go inside, but not inside your mind. Go inside. Be looking. You become very sensitive, like a dimmer switch turns up all your. Become sensitive, and that sensitiveness, you become alive. Become alive. And everything vanishes. You don't care. Hunger vanishes. Things vanish. All these things, they are kind of a wealth. Why are you thinking, yeah, I don't have any money to go anywhere and to do things? It's your mind. No? Why you want to go anywhere? He leaves you here. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not always thinking like that. I have learned to live with very, very little. I go often to the supermarket. My intuition brings me there when they reduce the stuff, and I get things for 10p, 20p. I don't know,
yes,
and
okay.
I'm not ashamed or I
good.
even enjoyed it. Sometimes I felt I know already. I have so many supermarkets where I live, and I know that I go there and I come at the right time. Where from £2 it goes to 20p. I know.
Yes, good.
No, this
okay.
well.
So, okay, then now what? Okay, listen. What's trouble?
Maybe I'm still scared to be really on the streets too.
I had this fear also. Because before this I was teaching at college. I gave up my job. Got nothing. The first time also I signed off because I used to go to government for money. And I signed off from them. Had nothing. I never saved money. I went into the middle of my town, and one guy, they call him Juicy, this crazy prophet, who shouts and swears at people and everything, came to me and gave me a banana. Well, and walk away. But that was no ordinary banana. That banana was from God. That banana said, I'm going to take care of you in the most unexpected ways. And surely it did. You see, like this. So all these things we know, it come like this. So then you just leave everything there. So some people might be listening to this and say, my God, do I want to go into this? Because I was thinking maybe my students are going to see me looking in the big bins in my town. We have some big bins in the market. They throw away things. Maybe a carrot or so is no good. They throw away the whole carrot. I can go take a piece off and things like that. I start to imagine I'm going to be on the street looking. It never happened. It never happened. People even came to me and gave me £5. So why you give me £5? I don't know. I feel to give you. Oh, okay. Like this. You're not going to tell me something I haven't done, so I am watching you.
No,
what,
I know.
where is it?
I know all this.
Where is it? Okay, so it is like this. Now maybe I might be on the street.
But you said it shouldn't happen for 3 years.
No, I shouldn't say that really. Who am I to say that? I don't know. Maybe I'll be robbing you of your enrichment to say that. I don't know how long it will happen for. All I know is every step of the way I could feel gratitude in my heart. Sometimes people who are rich, they say, oh, look at these poor people. What are they thanking God for? They got nothing. I say, you don't know what they have. I know what we have. You are the wealthiest woman on your road. Huh?
I just want to give you a hug. Spirit told me this morning to phone you. I didn't think about phoning you. It was doing some different meditation exercises from somebody else about some peace, and at the end of it, suddenly I just had to phone you. I had some resistance. I felt, well, he doesn't like that I phone him there or like that, but I just had to do it, you know. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Because I have to tell you something. You see.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is it. Tell you something. You know, one time, I remember one time, you know, I had no money at all. And I had made a painting, very big painting, on the side of a truck. Made a painting on the side of a truck. And many people loved this painting. And one man was living opposite. He had a leather jacket. And he asked me, could you paint something on my jacket? These people, they were working like they make stage sets in the West End. All these beautiful stage sets, they make them. They make a lot of money. He gave me his jacket. I said, I'll paint something. I made a beautiful painting, oil painting on his leather jacket. Okay. I said, good. At least I'm going to make a bit of money. Thank you. Thank you, God, for sending this man a beautiful painting. So they came, and I said, look at this. I made a jacket for you. He says, wow, that is fantastic. It's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. I put it on, put your hand in. Look at this. Just hey, Mooji, you're an amazing artist. Thank you. I never forget this. Thank you. And he went home. Not even a cup of tea, nothing. And I felt so ashamed. I couldn't ask, like, hey, whoa, where's my money? And I couldn't do it. I don't, huh? And he's wearing the shirt thing every day. I just look, you know, that's at least 200 pounds worth of thing. Not one sausage I got from it. So I realized, okay. Another joke. Okay. But in these things, something is burnt inside you. It's burnt. Becomes very clear, like the infinite sky free of clouds inside. Very nice. Okay. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Yes.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a great joy.
It's been such a treat.
A great joy to be here again, and also to see you who came. Many of you came to the intensive in London, and to have a chance to hear some of this rich insights and questions that you brought, and that you gave this space again, Alex, because I know your deep concern. When I first met you, and you shared a little bit about what you wanted to bring this consciousness into the reach of people who are working every day, and who are not yogis. They're not, that it could be made available. I said yes. I was very touched by that, and we first time last year,
Last year, yeah.
I remember this meeting, and Ian and Rose for inviting us, and somehow I feel in this space that you made available for us, and you who come and everything, that somehow the seeds of these talks will reach many people and hopefully bring some light more into their own search for truth.
Thank you.
So, very, very happy to come.
It's such a joy to have you, and thank you for being so generous with your time as well. We said 2 hours, and we're 3.5 hours, and I was warned by Ian and Rose this may happen. but it's been such a treat. I really do appreciate it, and so thank you so much. Thank you. And also thank you to you guys here for being so generous with your kind of sharings as well. It's been very beautiful, so I really do appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that's been involved in organising it, Ian, Rose, Sri. I know there's many people that have played a significant role, so thank you very much. Yes. And thank you to you guys watching at home as well. We really appreciate you being here with us. We hope you felt like you've been kind of in the room, part of the experience. And if you'd like to see more things on Conscious 2, we have many videos on our YouTube channel. We also have many courses and workshops that you can explore as well. So please do visit conscious2.com to check out what's there. But again, thank you so much, Guruji. Great treat. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. I would just like to finish with the blessing that may all beings who feel pulled towards this search for the inner self and its beautiful reality be fully blessed and come to a deepening or even the full realization of the self in the heart, and in such a profound way that one finds timeless freedom, so that may all who meet you on the way of life be profoundly touched and inspired by your presence and light, openness, your insights and wisdom, to the extent that they in turn would be inspired to search for this light which they see in you, to find that inside themselves and win freedom also. And we pray that human beings everywhere, without exception, who has this burning fire in them for true knowledge, will be encouraged by the various hands and streams of consciousness to awaken to the deepest truth that is available in the human kingdom, so that all we together can share a common goodness, a common light that will raise the consciousness of all human beings, so that we begin to wipe away the sorrows and the sufferings that plague the human experience. Blessing be upon all nations of the earth, and of all peoples, of all religions, that mankind will become kind men again. And let it be so. Amen. Thank you. Good.